She found her son with her fingers. He was wet and warm and sticky. Blood, she thought numbly. His blood and hers. Their blood. This is how George R. R. Martin describes Catelyn Stark's final moments in A Storm of Swords. She's clawing at Robb's corpse, her fingers searching desperately for any sign of life in her dead son's body, finding only blood and stillness. The show's Red Wedding is brutal, shocking, devastating. It's one of the most traumatic scenes in television history. But the book version is worse. Significantly worse. Not because the show softened it or pulled punches, but because Martin wrote it with a level of psychological horror, intimate detail, and systematic cruelty that even the show's brilliant adaptation couldn't fully capture. Let's examine exactly how the Red Wedding in the books was more evil than the show. The additional victims, the desecration of the corpses, the calculated nature of every detail, the violations of sacred customs that made this not just murder, but one of the most heinous crimes in Westerosi history. The setup. Everything was a lie. In both the show and the books, the phrase invite Robb Stark to a wedding feast. The marriage between Edmure Tully and Rosalind Frey, a peace offering, after Robb broke his promise to marry a Frey daughter. Just right is invoked. Bread and salt are shared. According to the most sacred laws of Westeros, this means the Freys cannot harm their guests. It's not just custom, it's holy law. Breaking guest right brings the god's curse upon you. But in the books, Martin makes the betrayal even more calculated and evil through specific details the show couldn't include. The feast itself is designed to slaughter. The Freys seat the Starks and their men specifically to maximize casualties. They put musicians on the gallery, not for ambiance, but for crossbow positions. Every detail of the evening is planned murder disguised as hospitality. The timing is coordinated with military precision. The massacre doesn't just happen at the feast. Simultaneously, Frey and Bolton forces are slaughtering the Stark forces camped outside. Thousands of men murdered in their tents while they sleep, thinking they're safe under guest right. The signal is the Rains of Castamere. When the musicians start playing the Lannister song, a song about the total extermination of House Rain, that's when the slaughter begins. It's not random. It's Tywin Lannister sending a message. This is what happens to those who defy me. The show captured some of this, but the books make clear just how systematically planned every element was. This wasn't murder in passion. This was industrial-scale slaughter orchestrated months in advance. The pregnant wife, a death the show changed. In the show, Talisa Stark is stabbed repeatedly in her pregnant belly. It's horrific, brutal, one of the most disturbing deaths in the series. But in the books, Robb's wife isn't at the Red Wedding at all. Her name is Jane Westerling, not Talisa, and Robb left her behind at Riverrun specifically because she was pregnant. He wanted to keep her safe. So why is the book version more evil if his wife wasn't even killed? Because of what happens after. Because Tywin Lannister had already arranged for Jane's mother to give her contraceptive potions disguised as fertility treatments. Jane was never actually pregnant. The Westerlings were working with Tywin the entire time. Think about this. Robb married for love, breaking his oath to the Freys because he got Jane pregnant and his honor demanded he marry her. But it was all a setup. Her family arranged the seduction. They ensured she wouldn't get pregnant. They delivered Robb to the Lannisters. The show's version is more viscerally shocking, stabbing a pregnant woman. But the book's version is more insidiously evil. The entire relationship was a trap from the beginning. Robb's love, his honor, his oath-breaking, all manipulated by his enemies. Grey Wind, the dire wolf's death. In the show, Grey Wind is killed off-screen. We hear him howling. We know he dies, but we don't see the details. In the books, Martin gives us those details, and they're designed to maximize horror. Grey Wind knows something is wrong. Before the feast even starts, he's agitated, growling, trying to warn Robb. But Robb ignores his direwolf's instincts because he doesn't want to seem paranoid or ungracious to his hosts. The Freys cage him specifically. They insist Grey Wind can't come to the feast. They lock him in the kennels. Not for safety, but to make sure he can't protect Robb when the massacre starts. He dies trying to save Robb. When the slaughter begins, Grey Wind breaks out of the kennels. He's trying to reach Robb, trying to defend his bonded human. The Freys shoot him with crossbows until he falls. But here's the most evil part. After the massacre, the Freys decapitate Grey Wind and sell his head onto Robb's headless corpse. They parade this abomination through the streets. Robb's body with his dire wolf's head. A mockery, the desecration, a symbol of total victory and complete humiliation. The show mentioned this happened, but it doesn't show the visual. The books describe it in detail. The young wolf reduced to a grotesque puppet, his own dire wolf's head crowning his corpse as the Freys celebrate. The casualties, thousands more dead. The show focuses on the hall. Robb, Catelyn, Talisa, and some of Robb's bannermen die in the feast. It's devastating. But the books make clear this is just one location in a coordinated massacre happening across multiple sites simultaneously. The camps outside are being slaughtered. While the feast is happening, Frey and Bolton forces attack the Stark army camps. Thousands of northern soldiers are killed in their tents. They're not even given a chance to fight, just murdered while they sleep. The other camps are burning. Tents are set on fire with men still inside them. Soldiers trying to escape the flames are shot down with arrows. It's systematic extermination. Surrender is not accepted. Men throwing down their weapons and trying to yield are killed anyway. The Freys and Boltons aren't taking prisoners. They're eliminating the entire northern army. Small folk and camp followers are killed too. Not just soldiers, cooks, servants, washerwomen, anyone with the Stark forces. The massacre doesn't discriminate. Everyone dies. The show couldn't depict this scale of slaughter, but Martin describes it: fields full of corpses, rivers running red, an entire army exterminated in one night. The show's Red Wedding killed maybe dozens on screen. The book's Red Wedding killed thousands. Catelyn's death, the most horrific difference. In the show, Catelyn's death is tragic. She threatens to kill Walder Frey's wife. He doesn't care. She cuts the woman's throat. Then she's killed, throat slit. She falls. It's brutal. Michelle Fairley's performance is devastating, but the book version is worse. So much worse. She watches Robb die slowly. In the books, Robb doesn't die quickly from one or two wounds. He's shot with crossbow bolts, stabbed multiple times. He falls, gets back up, keeps trying to reach his mother, dies slowly, calling for her. She claws at his corpse. After Robb dies, Catelyn doesn't immediately threaten anyone. She crawls to her son's body. She claws at his face with her fingernails. She's trying to wake him up, trying to find some sign of life. Her mind is breaking. She mutilates herself. When she finally accepts he's dead, Catelyn doesn't just threaten to kill Jingle Bell, the mentally disabled grandson she's holding hostage. She starts tearing at her own face, raking her nails down her cheeks, pulling out her own hair. She kills an innocent. Jingle Bell is simple-minded. He doesn't understand what's happening. He's essentially a child in a man's body. And Catelyn, mad with grief, cuts his throat anyway. Not because she thinks it will save her, but because she wants to hurt Walder Frey any way she can. Her death is described in intimate detail. Morton writes from Catelyn's point of view as she dies. We're inside her head as her throat is cut. We feel the blade. We experience her last thoughts, not of revenge or hope, but just emptiness and the taste of blood. She found her son with her fingers. He was wet and warm and sticky. Blood, she thought numbly. His blood. And hers. Their blood. Then she's killed. But not cleanly. Her throat is sawed open. She feels the blade cutting. She feels herself drowning in her own blood. The show gave us a quick death. The books gave us a prolonged descent into madness, mutilation, and horror. The desecration. What they did to the bodies. The show ends with the massacre. People die. It's over. The books continue. Because the Freys aren't satisfied with just killing the Starks. They need to humiliate them, desecrate them. Make sure everyone knows what happens to those who defy the Lannisters. They decapitate him. Not cleanly, not as execution, but as mutilation. They sew Grey Wind's head onto his body. This isn't just murder, it's mockery. It's turning the young wolf into a literal grotesque. It's saying, "You thought you were a wolf? Here's your wolf head." They parade it through the camps. They put a crown on Grey Wind's head, mocking Robb's kingship. They mount the corpse on a horse. They parade it through the burning camps so every surviving Northman can see what became of their king. This desecration is what makes the book version more evil than the show. It's not enough to kill your enemies. The Freys need to destroy every shred of dignity to make sure the North knows they're broken. The sacred laws, breaking every rule. Both the show and books emphasize that guest right is sacred. Breaking it brings divine curse, but the books make clear just how many sacred laws and customs the Freys violated. Guest right is the most sacred law. Once you've shared bread and salt under someone's roof, you cannot harm them. The gods themselves curse oath-breakers. The Freys knew this. They did it anyway. They used a wedding as cover. Weddings are sacred. They're about new beginnings, alliances, joy. The Freys turned a wedding into a massacre. They perverted one of the most holy ceremonies into a slaughterhouse. They violated the rules of war. Even in war, there are customs. You don't murder enemies who surrender. You don't kill under peace banners. You don't massacre sleeping men. The Freys and Boltons broke every rule. They desecrated corpses. Westeros has customs about treating the dead with dignity. You give them funeral rites. You don't mutilate them. You don't parade them as trophies. The Freys violated all of this. In the books, Martin emphasizes that every single Northerner knows the Freys are cursed now. They broke the most sacred laws. They'll be remembered as oath-breakers and kinslayers for all time. The show mentioned this, but the books make it a central theme. The Freys gained a temporary victory, but damned themselves forever. The Small John, a hero. The show cut. In the show, when the massacre starts, Robb's bannermen die quickly. We see some fight back, but it's brief. In the books, there's a specific hero, Small John Umber. When the crossbows start firing, Small John doesn't freeze. He immediately understands what's happening, and he acts. He flips a table, uses it as a shield to protect Robb from the crossbow bolts. He's getting shot himself, bolts in his back, his legs, but he stays standing, protecting his king. He kills multiple Freys with his bare hands, no weapon, just raw strength and loyalty. He dies trying to clear a path for Robb to escape. He's still fighting even as he's dying, still trying to save his king even as his own life bleeds out. The show cut this, but it makes the book version more tragic, because in the books, Robb had heroes who fought for him. Men who gave everything trying to save him, and it still wasn't enough. That makes it more evil, not just that the massacre succeeded, but that even incredible heroism and sacrifice couldn't stop it. The aftermath. Lady Stoneheart. The show ends the Red Wedding storyline with everyone dead, tragedy complete. The books add one more horrific twist. Catelyn comes back. Days after her body was dumped in the river, the Brotherhood without banners finds her corpse. Beric Dondarrion gives his life to resurrect her through the power of Arelor, but she doesn't come back as Catelyn Stark. She comes back as Lady Stoneheart. Her throat is still cut, a hideous wound she can barely speak through. Her face is clawed and torn from where she mutilated herself. She's been dead for days, so decomposition has started. And she's not Catelyn anymore. All the warmth, the love, the mercy, gone. What remains is vengeance. Pure, unrelenting vengeance against everyone even remotely connected to the Red Wedding. She leads the Brotherhood on a campaign of brutal executions, hanging Freys, killing anyone who served the Lannisters. No mercy, no trials, just revenge. This makes the book version more evil, because it shows the Red Wedding's corruption spreads even beyond death. It turned Catelyn Stark, a woman who valued honor and family, into a monster who only knows hatred. The show cut Lady Stoneheart completely, but her existence in the books proves the Red Wedding didn't just kill people. It killed hope. It killed mercy. It left only darkness. The psychological horror, being inside their heads. The show gives us the Red Wedding from an external perspective. We watch it happen. We see the horror on faces. We hear the screams. The books give us the Red Wedding from inside Catelyn's head. We experience it through her eyes, her thoughts, her emotions. We feel her confusion when the music starts, her rising dread, her realization of betrayal, her desperate attempts to save Robb, her horror as she watches him die, her descent into madness, her final moments. Martin writes, "No, don't cut my hair. Ned loves my hair." These are Catelyn's last thoughts, not of revenge, not of her other children, but a confused memory of Ned complimenting her hair. Her mind is so broken that she's not even in the present anymore. This psychological intimacy makes the book version more devastating. The show could show us the external horror, but only the books could put us inside the victims' heads as they die. The final truth. The Red Wedding in the books was more evil than the show, not because the show softened it, but because the medium of television has limitations. The show couldn't depict thousands of corpses burning in camps. Budget constraints. The show couldn't show the full desecration of Robb's corpse being paraded, too visually grotesque even for HBO. The show couldn't put us inside Catelyn's head as she dies, different medium, but Martin could do all of this in the books. And he did. He gave us the full scope of the massacre, not just the feast but the thousands slaughtered in their sleep. He showed us the desecration, Robb's corpse mutilated and mocked, Catelyn's body dumped like trash. He took us inside the victim's mind as she dies, clawing at her dead son's face, tearing out her own hair, descending into madness. He showed us the aftermath, a mother brought back as a vengeance demon, proof that the evil of the Red Wedding corrupted even death itself. The show's Red Wedding is one of television's most traumatic moments, but the book's Red Wedding is worse. More victims, more desecration, more violation of sacred laws, more psychological horror. More proof that this wasn't just murder, it was systematic evil, designed to break the North's spirit completely. Both versions are masterpieces of tragedy. But Martin's version, In a Storm of Swords, remains the most evil depiction of betrayal in fantasy literature, because he didn't just kill his characters, he destroyed them, humiliated them, desecrated them, and then brought one back as a monster to prove that some evils are so profound they corrupt even resurrection. She found her son with her fingers. He was wet and warm and sticky. Blood, she thought numbly. His blood, and hers, their blood. That's the book's Red Wedding. Not just a massacre, but intimate horror described with surgical precision. And that's why it was more evil than anything television could show.